Oh, that looks good. You've got meeting is now streaming live.
Oh, okay. Kathy, you need to let Vicky in.
Oh, that looks good. You've got meeting is now streaming live.
Oh, Kathy, you need to
I know, I'm trying to find her.
I just sent her another invite.
Oh, that looks good. You've got meeting is now streaming live.
Yeah.
It looks like Vicky's joined
I know,
us.
I'm trying to find her.
She's here.
Yay. Sent her another invite.
Oh, that looks good. You've got meeting is now streaming live.
Yeah.
It looks like Vicky's joined
I know,
us.
I'm trying to find her.
She's here.
Yay. Sent her another invite.
Oh, that looks good. You've got meeting is now streaming live.
Yeah.
It looks like Vicky's joined us.
I'm trying to find her.
She's
I'm
here.
here. Hi.
Sent her another invite.
Oh, that looks good. You've got meeting is now streaming live.
It looks like Vicky's joined us.
I'm trying to find her.
She's
I'm
here.
here. Hi.
Sent her another invite.
Oh, that looks good. You've got meeting is now streaming live.
Looks like Vicky's joined us.
Wonder why that's playing.
Hi.
Okay, welcome. Welcome to our virtual open house. It has been great to have our students back in person and remotely. Okay, welcome. Welcome to our virtual open house. It has been great to have our students back in person. I don't know what's going on with this. Okay, welcome. Okay, I would like to welcome our new staff. Our school nurse is Amanda Eason, and our new teaching staff is our 7th grade mathematics teacher, Carrie Bracey, our 7th grade social studies, Rachel Smith, and our 7th grade social studies teacher, Kristen Burltonson. We have some guests with us today, our building support, and I'd like to have some of them, our staff, introduce themselves. It helps to be able to put a face with a name, and first up is our student advocacy team.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Irene Richard. I'm a social worker, and I'm the student advocacy community lead. And we're here tonight to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do down in student advocacy. Our office consists of 2 social workers who work primarily with students who have individual education plans. We have 2 school counselors and our secretary. Our office also works in collaboration with our school nurses, Patty Bolduc and Amanda Eason. To tell you a little bit more about how we support our students is Tricia McCrisky.
Good evening, everyone. Our mission here in student advocacy is to promote the social and emotional health of all students in addition to their academic achievement. For all students, we offer short-term individual and small group counseling, and we consult with parents, with teachers. We also offer support for our families and referrals to community resources. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Jones.
You have to unmute, Melissa.
Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. My name's Melissa Jones, and I am the counselor who works with the 8th grade. I also work with the first half of the alphabet for the 7th grade. As Mrs. McCrisky was saying, student advocacy, we offer a number of different types of small groups. These groups focus on a variety of different topics, everything from dealing with stress and anxiety to study skills, friendship, academic issues, and changing families. Students can sign up for these groups on their own, or they can be referred by their teachers or parents. And I will turn it over to Mrs. Grant.
Thank you. Sorry.
Michelle, you're on mute right now.
Oh, it says on mute. Sorry. My name is Michelle Grant, and I'm the school counselor for the 6th graders. I work also with the 7th graders whose last names are at the end of the alphabet, M through Z. We also wanted to let parents know that throughout the year, we might also be providing parent seminars on topics that are related to adolescence and the middle school experience. And we really encourage parents to recommend topics for discussion. We're always open to feedback from our parent community. And please reach out to us if you have some topics that you might be interested in. I'm going to hand it off to Mrs. Lemelin.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. Good evening, everybody. We look forward to working in partnership with you to ensure the middle school years are happy and successful for all of our students. So please feel free to reach out to us at any time with any questions or concerns. Thank you.
And next, I'd like to introduce our lead teacher for student support, Carol Laflamme. See, I wonder if she got kicked out of the Zoom. I'll move it on to Rob Pellerin, our school resource officer.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Rob Pellerin. I'm the school resource officer at the middle school. Just a couple things about myself. I've been a police officer for about 20 years, and I've been in the school now for 10. This is my 11th year here at the school. So primarily I'm at the school for the safety of the staff and the student body. And that would consist of traffic flow in the mornings and the afternoons. I'm part of the district emergency management team, which we get together once a month, and we've created our emergency plans for the district. And we'll also go over anything that we feel we're always updating it as far as safety goes, because there's always new ideas and new things that we can do. I'm there for overall public safety within the school and also outside of the school as well. And I assist administration in providing an educational piece for students who may need or looking for information regarding the law and potential consequences. So from time to time, depending on what the issue is, I might sit in a meeting after the administration has with the administration, but after they've done their piece, and kind of go over things that would be helpful to the student and the parents about continued behavior like that and what that could mean in the real world. The most important thing I do there is connecting with the students. That's just the role of a school resource officer, is to connect with the students and the staff. I have an open door policy. Anybody can come see me and talk about anything really, but if they're having problems within the school, online or at home, they can certainly come see me, talk to me, and I'm there for families and the community as well.
Thank you. I'm going to go back now to Carol Laflamme.
Sorry, I temporarily lost internet. So
That's
the
what I
joys
thought.
of these Zoom meetings. Hi, I'm Carol Laflamme, and I'm the teacher lead for student support. Just like Officer Pellerin, one of my main jobs is to make some positive connections with students. I have the advantage of being able to visit them during their crew time in the morning, see them on lunch duties in the halls. So I look forward to being able to get to know all the students in the building. I also will be the administrator for 504 meetings, which will allow me to work with the population that requires those. I also will work with the building administration to help manage any student behaviors that arise during the course of the day. And in addition to that, I'll be monitoring Go Guardian, which is a program that we use that allows us to view student access to the internet and pops up possible alerts when there are key terms and phrases that could be of concern that we would need to further investigate, which might require a conversation with the student and or parents and or Officer Pellerin and or administration.
Thank you. Next up, we have our school nurses.
Hi, I'm Patty Baldick. I'm one of the school nurses, and I'm very excited to have Amanda Eason joining me this year. I've been at the middle school for many years now, and I'm going to ask Amanda to tell you about, we have a new setup for our clinics this year. We have 2 clinic locations, and I'm going to ask Amanda to explain those to you.
Hi there, my name is Amanda Eason. I've been a nurse for almost 14 years, but new to the middle school this year. My background has been critical care. I live here in Scarborough, so some of you may know me from that. We have 4 kids here. We do have 2 different clinic setups this year. We have the Well Clinic, and that's going to be located in room 139, just past the gym there. And that's where we're going to send kids for their regularly scheduled medications. If they're having any type of allergic reaction, get stung by a bee, twist their ankle in gym, any of that type of stuff is going to come directly to the Well Clinic. Hang on, my husband's weed whacking. Let me mute myself for a second.
And we also have a respiratory clinic that's located where our old clinic always was, right next to the main office. And that is the area where we will see students who start to feel ill during the school day. So if they have a cough, a sore throat, nausea, fever, vomiting, they would report to the respiratory clinic.
And we're also here to field questions. I know parents have a lot of questions as far as what they can and can't send to school for. So we did add our numbers, and we're available to answer questions whenever we're needed.
And we really do appreciate your phone calls.
Next, I'm going to turn it over to David Courier, the assistant principal, and he's going to talk about safety and health protocols. And if you have listened to some of our parent forums or in the flyers that have come home, you have heard a lot of these things, but we have found that repetition is great, and we continue to work on these routines and protocols with students.
Good evening. As you can imagine, Scarborough Public Schools, as well as the Scarborough Middle School, are very concerned about the safety of our students, our staff, our families in the community. And the safety protocols are in line with what we would expect from all of our students, staff, and families. I have attached a list of the guidelines that came from the DOE, and some of those guidelines, the guidelines are updated throughout the year whenever needed by the state. And some of the things that are listed in those guidelines are, we've had questions, what if our child leaves the state? And if a child leaves the state, and this does not include Connecticut, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, or Vermont, if they leave the state, they would need to quarantine for 14 days or receive a negative COVID test. And we would ask that the COVID test, and we require that the COVID test, the negative results, come back to us at the school before the student enters. Similarly, if a student is exposed, they would need to quarantine for 14 days, and again, receive a negative result on a test before they return to school. If a student does test positive, then that student would need to remain out of school for 10 days after the symptoms have cleared. Following along with our safety protocol, staff and students are expected and required to complete a self-screening check before coming into school. And some of those questions are questions that you may have heard. Have you had a fever within the last 24 hours where a temperature is above 100.4? Do you feel sick? And many of these questions have repeatedly been in the news. They've been in flyers that we've sent home, and they're also posted on the front door of the middle school before anyone enters our front door, door number 1. Additionally, we expect all students and require all students to wear masks, and we require the same from staff. Masks are worn throughout the course of the day, with the exception of if a student is sitting eating their lunch or if they're on a mask break with a teacher. The mask breaks are used throughout the course of the day, throughout the different grade levels, and those students, while they're on mask break, are distanced. And right now we're able to take students outside, so most of our mask breaks have been outside. Additionally, when students are eating lunch and they're sitting down at their table, they're able to take their masks off. We would ask that students bring more than one mask to school. And an incident happened this week where a student was eating lunch, they spilled liquid on their mask and didn't have an additional mask with them. We have given out multiple masks to students. The Hanes Company has made masks that we've delivered, a black mask and a white mask, to all students in the school. And we would ask for a student, if they were in need, to ask any adult, and we would be able to provide a mask. But the masks, if they are soiled, we need to have a backup. We would ask for any mask that's brought in to be brought in with a plastic bag. So if it were one that could be laundered, the student could stick that bag, the mask in the bag, bring it home for cleaning. Throughout the school, we've also had traffic patterns that have been established, and that's foot traffic patterns, in addition to what Officer Pellerin talked about, our traffic flow outside. Within the building, all of our hallways have been divided in half with a line down the center. Students are staying to the right. There are markers and arrows in every hallway in our building, whether it's in the main building or in our portable classrooms for our 6th graders. Our classrooms have been set up so all desks are 4 or more feet away from their neighbor, and then 6 feet or more away from the adults in the building. We have protocol for anytime a staff member is in a classroom, they sign in for contact tracing. And anytime a student needs to leave the room, whether it's to the bathroom, to visit the clinic, or another area of the school that they need to visit, they sign out of that classroom as well. Some things that we've been told repeatedly from both the CDC, from the DOE, and from our school physician is that washing hands is really important to helping curb the spread of this disease. We ask students to wash their hands frequently throughout the building, whether they're coming into a room, whether they're taking their mask off, before and after eating, when they use the restroom, and when they touch common touch areas, high touch areas. Our custodians have done a remarkable job cycling throughout the building. Every doorway is cleaned multiple times during the day. Our restrooms are cleaned, and other high touch areas like drinking fountains, handrails are also cleaned. So 3 things that we would like to reinforce is that wearing the masks is so important to slowing the spread of the disease, washing hands, and the social distancing. As I mentioned, that there have been areas that have been added to the school for the safety with the hallways and traffic patterns, but we've also been cognizant of airflow and our air filtration systems, both in the portables and in the middle school main building. Those air filtration systems have been updated. And as I talked about foot traffic in the hallways, that has been updated as well. We are not allowing students to use lockers at this time because of the choke points that are in our hallways and the congregating that happens at the lockers. So at this time, there are no use of any student lockers. Restrooms are, as I mentioned, are sanitized as much as possible during the day. And we encourage students to drink water during the course of the day. And we ask them to bring a water bottle from home. We have no-touch fountains at the middle school where a water bottle can be placed against the fountain will fill up the water bottle, and then the student can take the water bottle without touching anything on the fountain. And then lastly, our cafeteria has been changed completely. We are allowing up to 48 students in the cafeteria, And we have multiple rooms on the hallway entering the cafeteria to the cafeteria where students can eat lunch. Our food service program has prepackaged lunches, has placed those in the assigned rooms. All students are assigned to a room, and they would stop by the room to grab their lunch if it's been pre-ordered. And then they have the option of going outside, and we've been thankful so far. We've had great weather, and nearly every one of our lunches since we started school has been with an option to go outside. Students overwhelmingly want to eat outside, and we are encouraging the social distancing. They're able to sit on a mat if they would like to outside, and those mats are cleaned by the custodians every mat in between use. So our custodial staff has done a tremendous job with making sure that our student is clean, student areas are cleaned, and also our staff has done a remarkable job making sure that our students are safe. Lastly, Officer Pellerin talked a little bit about our emergency management team, and I'd like to talk a little bit about the members of the team, which do include our police chief, our school resource officers, our deputy chief, deputy fire chief, deputy police chief, I'm sorry, deputy fire chief and our fire chief, as well as other members of the team. We have our school nurses, our social workers, staff members on the team, as well as members from the community resources, for example, our school library, our town library, and then also our community service director and some of his staff are members of the team. Our goal, as Officer Pellerin said, is to create a plan of safety for all of our students. So whereas we've talked about how important the safety of COVID is, we also have an overarching concern to make sure that our buildings are safe. So if you are in, let's say, for example, the high school or the middle school or any school in our district, if you heard the term a lockdown or an evacuation, the protocol would be the same in every building. The language would be the same in every building. So students hear that message every grade level that they come up through.
Okay, I wanted to point out that we have adjusted our schedule slightly. We've built in 5 minutes at the end of each period for teachers to be able to move to the room next door or across the hallway. They don't have to move far, but they do need to move, and then they need to get their laptop set up for the next class for Google Meets. And so if period 2 starts at 9:25 and it's 9:26, students shouldn't panic. It just might be the teacher needs another minute to actually open up the Google Meets. On Wednesdays, most students are fully remote from 8 to 11. And so they will have that morning crew check-in, and then they'll have RISE blocks. And RISE stands for Remediate, Improve, Stretch, Excel. And the purpose of RISE is to provide an intervention or enrichment time for students to work in small groups with a teacher. So students, they follow a regular schedule while in person and on remote learning days. Attendance is taken at the start of the day during crew and also during each class period using PowerSchool. Students who are remote learning will log into a Google Meets at the beginning of each class. Though I do want to point out, when a teacher is absent, they will post an asynchronous assignment on Google Classroom and students will not log into their Google Meets. And there will be a mix of synchronous and asynchronous methods within classes. And the goal is for students to be able to complete the majority of their work during the school day. And teachers will continue to plan units together for both the in-person and the remote students. So at this time, teachers have created introductory videos for open house, and these videos have been gathered into a master list. So use your child's schedule to identify their teachers and classes and learn about their anticipated class expectations and units of study from each teacher. So the master list is linked here, but it's linked in the open house flyer that was emailed to you a little before 1 o'clock today. And I do want to point out that on some of the student schedules, you might see the word flex. And a flex is a study, and those have been scheduled for when students are at home. And they have been linked to a staff member in our Learning Commons. So if we did come back full time, students would go to our Learning Commons for their flex. But when they're at home, they do not log in or check in with anyone during the flex time. That's a time for students to work on their homework. So in the flyer, there is this link to the open house, the teacher introduction videos. And so you can see here, you're able to click on the links to be able to watch the videos from all of our staff members. And so this is something where if you don't have time tonight and you can't get to all the videos, you can, this will be posted on our website. I will stop sharing now, and I just want to thank you all for attending our welcome portion of our open house. Thank you.